The writing of free verse is so monumentally easy, quite frankly, my cat can do it. Taken from an interview in The Big Issue, September 2010. Felix always wrote his poetry in strict rhyme and metre, age-old forms that required discipline, work and time. His art may have been old and venerable, but his subjects could be far from it. From computers and the internet to politics and law, with tidbits of personal history thrown in for a little spice. When outstretched arms were fighter planes and rulers flashing swords, when cricket bats were Tommy guns and ties garrotting cords, when wooden crates were rocket ships and dustbin lids were shields, when cans and string were telephones and back streets battlefields, when benches in the parks were tanks and tablecloths were tents, when bamboo canes were Blackfoot bows and grown-ups made no sense, when fallen trees were pirate ships and matches stolen toys, we all wished we were full-grown men who now wish we were boys. Oh, sorry, there you are. Yes, the story. Now, where do I go? This is a funny poem, not a funny poem. Well, it is amusing at least. Now, I love this poem from the very first moment I heard it. It spoke to me in so many ways, and it's from the book Lone Wolf, second book. I'll put the link in the bio so you can go out and buy the book, or you can find it on felixdennis.com as well. But go and buy the book. And Felix started to read it while we were in America when we did the American tour in 2004. Now, the first week was quite a hard week for us because we did 6 shows back to back. Let me see if I can remember off the top of my head. We did Minneapolis, we did Chicago, we did Detroit, not necessarily in this order. 2 shows in New York, bonus there where they were both in the same venue, and then up to New Haven for a charity event. So each night, first 5 nights at least, When was part of the set. And when we got to New Haven at the break, and I'll probably talk more about the breaks later on because the breaks are a special time for me, a safety valve if you like. But when we got to New Haven at the break, Felix wasn't very happy with the crowd reaction. Now, it was a charity event, and I think they'd had a meal beforehand, or they were going for a meal afterwards, but they were sort of subdued, and he wasn't very happy, so he thought he'd change things about and make the set a bit more, not spicy, but a bit more tight. And so we had a debate in the dressing room of what was going to be dropped, and we were going to tighten up the second set. Now, against my better judgment, I was voted down on this. When was dropped, and it was a majority. I was the only dissenter, if I'm honest. But I really love this poem, and I wanted him to keep doing it. But it was dropped from the set, and it stayed dropped from the set for the rest of the tour, and including the UK leg. So I was a little disappointed, but hey, it's not my choice. Now, this is relevant to the story because when we got to the end of the tour, the last night we did was in the Royal Shakespeare Company's Swan Theatre in Stratford-upon-Avon. Lovely theatre, big theatre, full to the rafters with people because it's his hometown gig. He lived near Stratford, and so it was full, and he was enjoying himself. It was the last night of the tour. We'd been out for 2.5, 3 months. We'd done best part 30 shows. And I mean, he's no spring chicken. I mean, neither am I. But so we were quite tired. But it was a great show. And now, as you probably guessed, if you know anything about Felix, the tour was called "Did I Mention the Free Wine?" Now, the free wine was quite an issue here because everybody that attended the show got a free glass of wine, or in fact 2 or 3 in some cases. Some people overindulge quite often, but that's another story. However, this night, Felix was on top form and indeed overindulged, just a little bit. So when he came on to do an encore, he was a little bit worse for wear, and he was running around the stage thanking everybody, doing this, doing that. Now, I'd been quite vocal about when it was first dropped, and I'd mentioned it more than one occasion, saying, can we stick this back in the set? Now, the thing with When, as you may have noticed, is it's got a musical background. So, and I ran all the AV on this, except at this point I wasn't running the computers, so I was running the sound and the video because we had video on this tour. Now, the sound was run on the CD, and the format is the artiste Well then, I've got the set list, so I know what's coming, and he will say the title of the poem, pause, and then start. Now if there's music, he'll say the title of the poem, at which point I'll hit play, and he'll wait for the music to start, and then he'll go cue to the music. However, this one night, the final night of the tour, slightly inebriated, Felix is running around stage and saying thank you to everybody, thank you to the crew, and thank you to the people that came, and everything else, as people normally do. And he said, there is a member of my crew that's been moaning on and off throughout this time, I don't think he used the word moaning, about a poem that was dropped from the set, so I'm going to do it now. And he burst straight into when, but with no pause. He went when, and then off he went. So I had no time to find the music, no time to press play on it, no warning whatsoever. So the last night of the tour, he did it effectively for me, but without the music. So that was a little disappointing. But hey, great, thanks Felix, thanks for bringing it back. However, more strange things happened around this poem. Well, strange, maybe not. Moving on from this, a few years later, we started prepping for another tour, and I think it was actually the Stratford Literary Festival, the second time we'd done it in the Civic Hall. In the lead up to it, one of his in-house AV guys who did video stuff for Dennis Publishing gave me a call and said, we've done a video for the poem When. Intriguing, I thought. Great, send it over and I'll slot it in. Because we had the set list, we were ready, so I got the video. And it arrived. Now, as you heard from the video, it's very specific. Bows and arrows, matches, flames, toys and everything else. So I looked at the video and it was just a group, two little boys running around doing all the things that are in the video, great, but not in the sequence that they come in the video. It seemed a little odd. So anyway, I thought, do you know what, I'll chop this up. So I chopped it up and put it into the order, so that with the poem, because I had the CD from the book, the way that he read it, it might not be exactly to time, but we can always worry about the timing later. So it's in the book, it's in the order that the poem comes. So when he says, and matchsticks were stolen toys, the little boy in the video struck a match. Because if I hadn't have edited it that way, it wouldn't have fitted. So we got to Stratford Literary Festival, we'd set up and we were ready. And I was speaking to the gentleman that had sent me the video. I said, look, has Felix seen the video that you sent me? And he said, well, yes. I said, you realise, of course, it's completely out of sequence to the poem. And he said, well, he sort of edged it, but I said, look, I have re-edited it so it fits with the poem. What do you think I should play? Which one? And he said, well, you should really stick to the original because that's the one that Felix has seen. Okay, fine, I'll take that. So anyway, comes to the show, we do the show, get to when, and I hit play on the video. By this time we're actually using computers, because when we started in 2002, 2004, when we started running the videos, the computer imagery wasn't quite up to spec, so we were actually using videotape, VHSs for the videos on the show. It was more reliable, basically. But anyway, now we were computerized. So press play, video runs, and he does the poem bang on all the way through. Gets to the end and sits down at his lectern and looks at the audience and says, I don't know how he managed it, but Thom just played the video backwards. I sort of, what could I do? But from then on, I used my edit for the rest of the shows we did, all the way through to his death in 2014, because that video stayed. A lot of the a lot of the poems that had films or videos with them, they always stayed in the show because they added a little bit extra. One or two got dropped. I think All the Young Dudes didn't make it all the way through, or White Vase. Now I might do White Vase later, but White Vase is a really touchy subject, especially in this day and age, because it's about Adolf Hitler. But it's a good poem, so I might just drop it in at some point. Look, if you have any questions, please by all means drop them in the comments and I'll try and respond to them. I might even do a video on them if you've got a poem you want me to read, drop a message in the comments here or on TikTok or on Clapper, because I've got channels on there. Both of these videos, or at least the poems themselves, are on those two channels. Anything you want, give us a shout. If you like it, comment. If you don't like it, comment. Likes, thumbs up, thumbs down, and of course hit that dingy dongy bell, get a subscription going if you like, and because I'll drop a few more of these. Anyway, that's the story of When. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. See ya.